This episode is brought to you by Bercha Hats. Some of the dopest hats out there. I know that there's a ton of brands if you've been on Instagram lately and some of your story feed is going to some sort of apparel, whether it's jackets or sneakers or any type of fashion. It's going to pop up in your storyline. You're going to see dad hats. Everybody knows what they are. And, your regular snapback hats. We all know what those are. Some of the dopest ones that I've seen so far are coming from birchahat.com. If you have an opportunity, make sure you go online and you check them out. They have a line of clothing. There's stuff for the woman out there. There's stuff for the guys. It's a lot of fresh, different apparel. Some really, really dope designs. And some of the most creative designs, period, that I've seen anybody put on a hat so far. I actually used to do some of these back in the day, and I remember I used to actually do them by hand. But these are professionally made, they're custom made, and they're exclusive. So basically, one line drops, you won't see them again. So make sure you get on and you sign up for the newsletter. They'll send you all the exclusive deals. And for listening to Unsatisfied and Restless, you can actually get 10% off at checkout. So all you need to type in the checkout box, there's gonna be a little box. Sorry, not the checkout box. While you're in the checkout screen, there's gonna be a little box, and it's gonna say promo code, and there you're just gonna type unsatisfied, all caps. That is unsatisfied. I hope you know how to spell it. I'm not spelling it out for you. If you need some spelling, go to dictionary.com or just type it in your phone and the little red squiggly lines will pop out telling you that you spelled it wrong. Get the correct spelling, type it in the checkout box. That's at birchahat.com. Just type in unsatisfied in the promo code box. Shout out to Wise, our dope sponsors, keeping up with us and make sure that we're moving forward. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Unsatisfied and Restless, the Offset podcast. This right here is going to be episode number 11. Thank you guys for tuning in. I know I've been gone for a little while. Please, you can remind me if you want to hold me accountable. It's been a little rough. There's been a lot of personal things I've been taking care of. It's been a lot going on. I'm a very busy guy. We just stay unsatisfied. We stay restless. We should stay moving the entire time. I know I shouldn't have probably let so much time go by. Thank you for the people that have held me accountable to say, where's our episode, dude? Like, you just taking too long. It's been about, I think, 3 weeks now, something like that. I'm really not sure, but I'm doing my best to stay on top of everything. It's a lot to keep up with, but I'm here. And we're here, and I got you another episode. And this one is actually going to be a real gem. It's episode number 11. I had a good friend come by, good friend, photographer, entrepreneur, and philanthropist, and businessman, Milton Lawrence. I know him for several years now. We actually had the pleasure of working together on a few projects. I actually worked for him in his photography studio. I learned a lot. This is a guy that dropped a lot of gems on me. Always pushed me forward. He saw something in me that maybe other people saw, maybe that I saw myself, but just hearing it from him himself and him having this faith in me when, there was times where he could have just been like, yo, man, fuck this guy. Because there was a space I was in that I was very unreliable and I was in my own world. And, he asked for me to do a few favors for him and I didn't. And I did, but I didn't do it on time, and some of the things he actually paid me for. So I let him down a few times, and I really appreciate that he actually came through and dropped some more gems on me now. He actually reached out to me a few times and was like, man, yo, you on to something. Make sure you keep going. And, just dropping positive vibes and sending them good auras to me, the good energy, when I didn't need it, and maybe he didn't need to waste that time on doing that for me. So I really appreciate him. I appreciate him coming through. This podcast is gonna we talked a lot about photography, video, business, his goals, purpose, which is very, very, very important. We spoke a lot about focus and the journey. So if you're interested in any of those subjects, I think you would be. Why would you be listening to this, period, right? So I appreciate you for tuning in. No further ado, Here goes Milton Lawrence.
Yeah, so Facebook Live, you guys are watching this right now. I'm here with Mr. Willis Abar at Unsatisfied and Restless, the Offset podcast, and we're going to talk whatever we want to talk about, man. It's going to be great. We're going to talk about photography, video production, business, taking things to the next level. We're just going to rock and roll from there, man. So, we're just going to go live here for a little bit. That's Mr. Willis Abar right here, the host of the Unsatisfied and Restless, the Offset podcast. And we're going to rock and roll from there. So we're making a makeshift... we're going to make us a makeshift tripod, something to hold this thing, man.
It's not up here. I thought it was.
We're going to figure it out, man. Watch this. We're creative, right? We're creative. It's going to be nuts. Hey, Chanel. Hey, J-Hove. Hey, Tony. My man Jermaine. Just had a 4-hour meeting with him. We got some ill stuff that's coming. And if I put something behind here and make this thing work... But it's going down. Maybe stick that back there. Let's see if it works.
Actually,
so we're trying to do this thing live so you guys can see, what's going on. And so I'm gonna turn it towards me, and then I eventually turn it around towards him. It's going down. So again, we're here at Unsatisfied and Restless, the Offset podcast.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for coming through, Mil.
Absolutely.
It's been such a long time since we actually seen each other.
Absolutely.
The last time I remember we were driving down from your studio to the barbershop, and I think we were going back to the studio. I forgot exactly. I think that was one of the last times probably that
when you and I worked together?
Yeah. That was a while ago.
It was amazing.
It really was.
A year or more?
Right. Yeah. Just about. I seen all the stuff that you're doing, and I was like, this is episode number 11 actually, so I made sure I prepared myself. I couldn't have you in here like at the very beginning because I'm like, nah, I need to be on point. I need to have, some sort of substance, at least some elbows in the game. Let me see what I'm going to pop up with. And, before I sat down with you and had this conversation. So
yeah, I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember when you first got started, you brought the idea to me and you said, hey man, I want to do this podcast. And, I wasn't even really sure. You wasn't sure what you were going to actually call it.
Yeah.
And, and I was just like, man, unscripted or something dealing with that, and I'm glad. I love the new name. Yeah. I love where you're going.
Appreciate it.
And that type of thing. And that's just creatives, man. A lot of times, man, we're all over the place.
Right.
We have all these ideas. We're gifted at so many different things, but sometimes our gifts and our talents sometimes trap us. Right. We're good at we're excited about photography. We're excited about video. We're excited about all these different things.
Exactly,
man.
what happens.
So what am I? And we're just all over the place and we can't focus, man. And so I love the fact that now you're narrowing things down and you're niching things down, man. And so,
yes.
This is gonna be exciting.
Yeah, it's been a journey. It definitely has been a journey. That's why I even have that book, The Power of Focus. It's so important to narrow things down, period, and actually pick that one thing. And you always told me, hey, look, when you find that one thing that's going to click, that's going to be the one, and I've been definitely moving with this. It's been a lot more consistent than a lot of other things. But, as creators, as you say, aside from personal life, we're still moving and doing a million other things and ideas pop up every day. And we have a 7 to-do list.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, 5 items on each one of them.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but we got to focus this thing and narrow it down, man. And when we do that, I think that, Tyler Perry said this, man. He actually said it on Facebook that if, God will make room for all of your other talents and gifts if you focus on one thing.
Okay.
Right? When he did his plays or whatever the case may be, he said he did, his vision wasn't to get into movies and all those types of things. He just focused on doing plays, telling great stories, attracting the audience that he wanted, and everything changed. And I believe that's true for me because I was all over the place at one point in time. Okay. And at some point, it's nothing wrong with that, right?
Right.
It's at some point
finding yourself.
You're trying to find yourself. You're trying to figure out what you're going to do. When I first started in photography, I started in the nightclubs. We were shooting food, we were shooting portraits, we were shooting headshots, we were shooting all types of stuff because I was trying to figure out what it is. I didn't know it back then. I was just trying to figure out what was going to be the thing that was going to gravitate and that was going to resonate with me as a creative and as a photographer, right?
Right.
And I was playing around with this thing. 6 months in, we obviously got into shooting weddings, and that was the thing that was like, yeah, that's my niche. That's the thing that I want to be known for. And we took it from there. Man. Now we're traveling all over the world doing fun stuff, bro.
Wow.
Yeah.
I seen. I love watching the snaps of you in the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Wow, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So I'll tell you, DR, man, was amazing. That was my first time going there. And, if we had to title this thing, I don't even want to know what we would call it, but I will tell you, I'm going to tie everything back to focus, right?
Okay.
Being good in one vertical and how that made room for everything else that's happening.
Okay.
Right. So I'll tell you what happened. So the DR assignment came from me doing some work with an entrepreneur. And essentially he saw my wedding work.
Okay.
He saw a series of my wedding work. And so essentially what came from that was he says, hey, man, we're going on this assignment. Well, I'm taking my employees on this assignment. I'm on a corporate retreat, and we want you to come and document it.
Okay.
From a photography and video production standpoint. So I told him, hey, listen, I can't do that by myself. I need to bring on a videographer with me. And we went. We went. And while we were there, a couple that was actually a part of the company were actually engaged.
Wow.
So while we were there, I'll post the video if you don't mind. I'll share the video of the video. I'll share the video that we created and photos that we created while we were there. But in addition to that, we also did what's called a styled wedding while we were there with a couple that was actually there. So it's an intimate, I call it the intimate alternate story.
Okay.
And so essentially we did what we were supposed to do, but while we were there, I wanted to get a little bit more mileage out of it.
Right.
And so that couple, we shot them and we told this amazing story. And that right now we're actually pitching that to a couple of different publications so that they would publish it. Again, so to drive traffic back to us. So the weddings was the thing that got us the assignment. And then because they wanted that type of storytelling. Okay. The type of storytelling that I use for weddings for their corporate retreat. Okay. And that type of thing. And so we were able to leverage that and we're off to the races, man. So
wow. And then while you were there, you actually got another wedding.
That's exactly how it happened, man.
Wow.
Yeah, man. So it's find your niche, get good at that, like maximize it to the most you can, and then that will make room for everything else that we're doing, man. That you want to do. Right. Yeah.
This is what Gary says. He says, triple down on your strengths. Okay. And he says, don't worry about your weaknesses at all, because the strengths is what's going to keep you moving forward in that straight line, at least, toward that main goal, while working on your weaknesses might slow you down a bit and might not get you as far at all, because, that's just going to take way more time to learn something from scratch. Like what you was telling me right now with the audio, it's like, I'm going to have to take time away from what I'm doing to actually work on this and learn a new thing, while I could have just been moving 10 steps forward while working on my strengths. So yeah, I definitely see it now, and then that's part of like when you go on the journey, because you know me before when I wasn't as focused at all, what I mean? I was kind of all over the place. I still am, but at least I found that one thing that I'm going to just
be consistent at over and over and over again, which you're going to be known for. Yeah, absolutely, man. So speaking of that, for those that are watching this on Facebook Live, we got a handful of people that are saying, hey y'all, how y'all doing? And that type of thing. I walked into his studio here, his sound studio here, and I see this elaborate setup, and I'm like, man, that's amazing. I want one of those because I want to be able to do podcasts and that type of thing. But I know me. I'm being honest, being true to myself.
Absolutely.
I don't want to go set all that up. I'll go buy everything. Can I hire you to come in and do it? Yeah. So essentially the message is find people that are really good at what they do, right, and let them do what they do. And so, sometimes it's an investment, but the distraction of getting off task of you going and trying to figure out all these microphones, what sound good, what don't sound good, mixers and all these different things. Okay, listen. Yeah. How much, what does it cost to do this? Mm-hmm. Make the investment so that you can stay focused. Right. Exactly. You can stay on task. And I think that your time will be, the value of your time would even be, the dividends will come back so much greater, so that you're not segmenting your time and your focus and your energy all over the place, man. Exactly. Absolutely.
I agree with that, man. I see it, and it's working out. It's working out for you wonderfully, man. Yeah. I was watching you. I think it was majority on Snapchat. I love what you're doing on Snapchat. You're actually using the tool how it's supposed to be used. Okay. And I see that you have an office, and you said that you built you're aiming for $1 million in the first year. That's the goal. And like, wow. I personally don't know anybody that's actually doing something like that or aiming that high and actually working.
And then telling people you're going to do that. Right?
Yeah, telling people, hey, look, I'm going to actually do this. Like, whoa,
that's a pretty bold statement. So that's the goal. The goal is to make $1 million in my first year. Yeah. And that's where this beard came from, man. So the goal behind the beard was, I said, when I hit my first $1 million, then I may cut it off. But the goal is to grow it until I hit we hit the million. I'm going to show you behind the scenes, the good, the bad, the ugly, the growth, the fallback, all that stuff, man. Everything, man, and that type of thing. And so for those who don't know me or know a little bit about my story, I'll take them back a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
To bring it to where we are. So back in 2008, I served 8 years in the Marine Corps, and I, after that became a defense contractor, leveraging some of the skills that I had in the Marine Corps. And so in 2008, my mother took sick, and my sister said, "Hey, Milton, I need you to come home and help me." So I packed the family up, my wife, kids, and we moved back from the West Coast to the East Coast. Okay. And when we came, I basically took my mother in and that type of thing, but I didn't have a job. Right. So that's how I got into photography. So I took my camera. I had a camera that I got for Christmas and that type of thing. And I started shooting in nightclubs. Right. Okay. So every nightclub between Baltimore and I would say Northern Virginia, I've shot them multiple times over. That's where I got my chops. Now, there were many nights I would go and I would shoot, man. I'm like, what the hell am I doing in here, bro? Later to find out that is the best training ground for weddings, for wedding receptions.
Because everything's all over the place.
It's chaotic, right? Yeah. And that type of thing. You got mixed lighting. You got all different types of things that are happening, man. And you got to get yourself prepared for that. And so I didn't. Hindsight's 20/20, right?
Right.
So fast forward a handful of years, I'm like, wow, I'm glad I started there, and I wouldn't change it, for the world. 6 months after shooting my first, being in the nightclubs, I was actually invited to assist at a wedding.
Okay.
Right? And so I was the assistant of the second photographer. So I'm carrying bags. And I shot a few pictures, but most of the pictures were details and that type of thing. So that's why details are extremely important to me, right?
Absolutely.
Emotion and that type of thing, right? So you'll see that a lot of that in my work where, shooting formals is fun, but I'm much more interested in capturing the emotion.
Okay.
And also the details and that type of thing.
That's what really tells the story, too.
That's right. Yeah. To me, the details are just as important as the bride and groom, right?
Yes.
And that type of thing. And so we do that. From there, hairstylists, makeup artists, all the behind-the-scenes folks started asking, do you do headshots? Do you do beauty work? Do you do... That gave me the opportunity to start playing in that arena. You know what I mean? And start doing those types of things.
Yeah.
And so... the long and short of it is, sorry, I took a call there. But anyway, I apologize. So anyway, we started working with hairstylists, makeup artists, and that is what introduced me to the commercial world.
Okay.
So that was a natural progression, right? Okay. That's the natural progression. So what happened was my work started being attracted to editors, right? So the hairstylists wanted to submit the work to various magazines, and things like that. And so that introduced me to the whole publication world, right? Okay. Now, my work was published for years, and I didn't even know it. Wow. They were submitting the work, right? Yeah. And so now that I know better, I'm now looking back at it and say, wow, my stuff has been published in multiple places, and I never knew it was published, if it makes some sense.
Yeah, I understand, right.
So fast forward now, getting better. Booking my own weddings at this point. We're traveling and that type of thing. A handful of destination weddings here and there. But then another kind of major milestone for me was being affiliated with what's called the Coterie Retreat. There's a wedding magazine called Mona Lucci Bride. Okay. And it's literally some of the top African American or it's some of the top wedding photographers and photographers, planners, vendors that are in the country. And it's targeted to people that are looking for high-end looking work and that type of thing.
Okay.
And so they had a retreat last year. I went to that retreat, and Willis, when I tell you, my mind was blown with the content, but the relationships that were built over that time frame. When I went for that weekend, people just were kind of open book, man. Hey, you talked about at the gym when you went to go to work out because you're big into working out.
Yes.
How all the trainers and the bodybuilders were really into just sharing.
Just sharing information.
That's exactly how it was when we were in Barbados.
Wow. And
so from last year to now, I think my work has probably been published in about 10 different publications.
Okay.
And I'm talking known names, like, Essence and
wow,
Black
Essence.
Enterprise, and some of these different places or whatever the case may be. Mona Lucci, which is now a big name, in the wedding space.
Wow.
They're creating a name for themselves, and because the work got better. In the wedding space, focusing on the wedding space, what happens is you're getting all different types of opportunities, man, to just do things that you would never be able to do if you were just trying to out there just shooting on your own, right? It's your client base is no longer. I'm based here in Baltimore, but my client base is now become the United States, so anywhere around the world.
Wow.
If they see your work and things like that, man. So I say all that to say that, you know what I mean? the journey wasn't easy.
Of course not.
And as a creative, many times, sometimes I would get distracted, right? Yeah. I would step into to areas that I wasn't strong in, and whenever I did that, you got results, but it wasn't you. It wasn't your focus, and because it wasn't your focus, you weren't getting the top tier results that you should be receiving, and that type of thing.
Indeed. I love the story of the process. If you listen to other episodes, I just talk about the process a lot. I always ask the person I want to know, and you actually just told me that without me asking for it. Yeah. That's amazing. I love it because some people believe it's from night and day. And me, I'm more in love. I love this quote. I don't know who really made it up, but I heard one of my favorite rap artists say it is cherish the chase as much as the trophy. Wow, so it's all about the journey, and it's not necessarily about the destination. We have a vision of exactly where we're trying to go. That journey is what every day changes.
That's right.
You know what I mean? We have all these obstacles coming the way. I have a plan to be debt free by August 2017.
Nice.
And something just happened this month that pushed it to September 2017.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they're like, okay, well, I know my time schedule now. Well, just 1 month back, but it's going to keep. Now I got to keep my head in the game.
Right.
Got to keep that head in the process to make sure that I make that timeline. So I love hearing the story of the process. Wow, congratulations! I didn't know you was in those publications. That's awesome, man.
Yeah. And so I want to finish the story in the sense where I want to tie it back into how did we get to this goal of doing $1 million, right?
Yeah.
Where are we in the process?
Yeah. How did we get to that goal?
How did we get to that goal?
Yeah.
Right? So what happened was, as I mentioned to you, so I'm working full time. I'm also running my business.
Yes.
Okay. And one of the things that I changed wishing 5 days a week so that I could go do my business. And I started celebrating myself in my job.
Okay.
Meaning that, I shared my work. I shared my work inside of work and outside of work, right? I didn't wish my time away. My formal background, my training, if you will, is in consulting, IT consulting, and that type of thing. And so while I was there, people still knew me as a photographer. People would follow my work and that type of thing. And they just associated my name with photography, right? And that type of thing. And so what happened was when I made the connection with with that gentleman I told you that we went on the retreat with.
Yes.
He said, man, let's create a partnership. Right? Let's create a partnership. Let's create a separate company. I think that, we can leverage our talents together. My resources, your talent as a photographer and as a creative director, to be able to tap into the Department of Defense and some of these corporate companies to be able to tell more stories. Right? So it was at that point I realized that we worked our asses off to get to where we were, where we still had to work as hard. It was almost like I got drafted. When we gave you a blank check and you can go make as much or as little money as you want.
Wow.
Right? Because now the customers, to do one assignment, let's just say one photography assignment or one video assignment for a consumer customer, just to give you maybe a few $100 up to a few $1,000.
Yes.
Right? Well, in the defense space, okay, that same assignment to do a 30-second clip or to do a 1-minute clip, that could be upwards of over $10,000 to $15,000.
Wow.
For the same work that you worked your butt off, right?
Yeah.
Putting in, sewing in, and now you're getting a little bit of input, a little bit of output. Now you flipped it. You flipped it
around. Yes.
Well, you do 10% of the work, or 10% of effort, 20% of effort, and you're getting 80% of the output.
Wow.
If that makes some sense.
The 80-20. Okay.
It's the Pareto principle, man.
Yes.
You understand what I'm
saying?
saying? Well, not in the same context in the way that he said it, but it's the 80-20 principle in effort.
Yes.
Right? You're putting in effort. And now the results have radically changed. And that type of thing. And so that's where we are, man. That's where things are. And so it's late nights, it's grinding, it's getting it. The difference is the output is radically different.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
All right, so I mean, yeah, the people still see the hours. I think you got to post up more of those timestamps on your Snapchat, like letting them know, look at this time and then this time.
Oh
like,
yeah,
just
like 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, we getting in. Yeah, absolutely, man.
Because you see you moving, but they don't know how the hours. That where the hours come in. That's why I had another brand idea for hours, because it's just some people just don't know how many hours it takes. Right. There's no TV, there's no sitting down, there's no hanging out.
Did you know what happened on Empire? No.
Not at all.
You know what happened on Power?
No. who won that last game? No, I don't know.
No, sorry. No. They're making their millions. I have to go try to make mine.
I can't join in those conversations. I'm just
sorry.
lost. Yeah. Right.
And here's the thing, so, I grew up in the inner city of Baltimore, right? My family's from Trinidad, and, my mother's side of the family's from the Carolinas. And so I grew up not knowing the amount of injustices that were happening to, because we lived in this bubble. We lived downtown, inner city Baltimore, on the east side of Baltimore, Patterson Park and Ashland, growing up before it became this re-gentrified area. So Milton, why is $1 million really important for you? Is it really about the money? No, not really. To be honest with you, money changes things. And, I really feel like, if you have money and you're bad, you do bad with money. If you're good with, if you're a good person and you have money, you do good with money.
Yes.
For me, number one, I didn't want my family to struggle anymore. Right. We grew up, pretty middle class-ish. We weren't poor. We had people that were clearly way worse off than us.
Yes.
But the reason why I want to get to $1 million is, number one, I want to show that it can be done. Two, there are so many injustices that happen within the city that I want to put some stank on. I want to be an impact player. So I have friends that are in jail right now because they couldn't get a good attorney.
Wow. Okay.
$15,000 would have fixed that. $20,000 would have fixed that. Right? I mean, for stuff that either they did or they didn't do. Like literally. So when you read stats about African American men in the inner cities that are serving long sentences for silly stuff.
Right.
A simple lawyer could have fixed that.
Wow.
Right. And so, not that I want to publicize the fact that I hired the lawyer but when you go visit some of your friends and you're like, yo, did you realize I'm not supposed to be in here, bruh? Right.
Right.
You know what I mean? That type of thing.
Yeah.
And so it's stuff like that. Single mothers that are raising boys by themselves. Right.
Just families of generations that are just pushed back.
And it happens over and over and over and over. So for me, it's so that I can give back.
Okay.
That's the reason, right? So 1 million times 10 or times whatever the amount is, I want to be able to give back. I want to be able to, help my community, but also educate them so that, because man, there's so many talent. Man. All right, here's what I believe. I believe that in the NFL and in the NBA, and even in the NHL, you haven't seen the best talent. We have not seen what you see displayed in the NBA and NFL.
Right.
Those are the guys who made it.
Those are the guys who made it. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Those are the guys who made it. What about the guys who didn't? Right. Who didn't make it? Like, we got guys that are right around here, right here in the Dundalk area, that can dunk a basketball better than anybody you could ever think of. But they'll never see the light of day of the NBA.
Right.
For whatever the reason was, right. Could you not invest in them? Could you create an environment for them to be able to be seen? And I believe where technology is going, not just from a photography standpoint, but from a video standpoint, that eyes will be open to the real talent. You think LeBron James is the only LeBron James? Are you crazy? There are people around the world, man, that can dunk a basketball, that is just as talented, if not, and this is no shade to him.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Imagine if you had 10 LeBron James putting 100 kids through college. I don't know what the exact number was, and it was like $45 million to put like 100 kids through college in Cleveland, in Akron.
Wow.
That he did, right?
Okay.
So my goal for me is take care of the family. That's first and foremost.
Absolutely, right? That's first.
But
right.
I want to be able to be an impact player, to be able to rise more leaders up, so that we can affect communities around the country. Period. Case closed. That's the reason why we want to do that.
Leaders,
not just so I can sit on top of a doggone a mountain of money and say, yeah, look at me. No, forget that. You know what I mean? I think I have a wealth abundance mentality. So why not you?
Right.
Why not Willis? Why not your kid? Or what? You know what I mean? And so when our kids, I have 3 daughters, when our kids see that, they don't know any difference. Do you realize there's kids right now that see the Barack Obama? They don't know that there were 43 other white presidents. They have no clue. Right? So this is going to be a shocker to them to see, a new face or whatever the case may be. But, it's more to it than just about me, right? It's about, ultimately being able to give back, because that's my ultimate fulfillment. That's the thing that fulfills me as an artist and as a man, period.
That's also Dave Ramsey just said that the other day. He says that's what actually brings true happiness is the ability to serve and serve with purpose, and that's a beautiful statement you actually have right there. That actually that's a goal that'll keep you going for forever, really, because that just doesn't stop.
It never gets old.
It'll keep you real busy and keep you occupied. And the more people that actually start doing things, the more motivated you actually be. So, I mean, I get that feeling just by doing little things like, hey, man, wake up with me at 6 a.m. and come with me to the gym. And they actually make it. Oh, wow, you're here. Okay, let's get to work. Right. And then the next day they're there again. Oh, that makes me even feel better. It's a responsibility now that I have to be there for them just to kind of, lead them in the right direction, at least toward that goal,
Yeah.
So I feel
it's an energy that money can't buy. Like, seriously, you felt it when someone shows up.
Yeah.
I'm feeling it right now to watch your success right now. We're on episode number 11, 12, 13, 14. You get to 100 or whatever the case may be. I played a small part and just keep and sowing seeds into you, right?
Yes.
That's what that's like for me, man.
Wow.
Yeah. It's the ultimate. You can't buy that.
You can't.
No. So I don't care about when people say they make 10, 15, 20 million dollars. If you're not fulfilled as an individual, some of those people are some of the most miserable people in the world.
Absolutely right.
You dig? So, yeah, bro. Yeah.
Well, whatever I could do to help you get that million, I'm here also. So I know that was in a different mind state before. We're just catching up for people who don't know that is just catching on to the podcast right now. We're catching up. I haven't seen Milton in about a year, so we're catching up
watching
right
each other
now.
on social media, man.
Yes, indeed. So whatever I could do, I know I'm in a different space now too. So my mind is in a different space. I'm moving differently. So whatever I could do to help you get there, you have my blessings. So
yeah, man.
We're here.
So we're here. So here's the thing.
Yes.
We're doing it right now. You're helping me to get the message out there.
Yeah.
About essentially what we're doing, where we're going and that type of thing. The newest thing that we have, the newest project that we're working on, again, staying in my lane, right, in the wedding space, is something called Wedding Safari. And so the Wedding Safari essentially is for aspiring wedding professionals. I wouldn't care if you're a photographer, videographer, if you're an event planner, a florist, a DJ, and your goal is to be able to expand your brand into the wedding space, but you don't necessarily have a guide or a coach or whatever the case may be. If you think of a safari, typically you remember this tree, this single tree sitting out in the middle of the safari, right?
Okay, yeah, that picture, right?
Right, that's what it feels like, when you first get started. Who's going to help me? Who's going to help me to kind of guide me and coach? So essentially, the Wedding Safari happens to become the navigator. It's the map that show you exactly. Let me introduce you to people that are moving and shaking that you may not have never known, and they're right there in your city. Wow. Right?
Yes.
And so we're hosting our first conference next year, October 6th through the 8th.
Okay.
It's right here in Baltimore. I've attended hundreds of conferences, and I've always had to fly out. So this is the first one you guys got to come to me. Come to me. And we're bringing the best of the best, man. We're bringing the best of the best.
Awesome.
If you have any how-to questions, I don't care what it is. Any type of how-to questions, you can follow us on Facebook right now. There's the Wedding Safari group, and it's free. You just sign up and that type of thing. And we're hosting workshops, we're hosting webinars, we're hosting things and we're bringing in the best of the best. I just literally, as I was driving here, I just got off a conference call with a gentleman, an SEO expert. Okay. He's an SEO expert, but he's a photographer. He's a wedding photographer. Wow. And back on the story he told me was, his name is Tashawn Jackson. You guys can look him up. Phenomenal photographer, creative. And he said on Super Bowl 2016 in February, he said he wasn't receiving any leads from Google as a wedding photographer. Right? He says to date, he's running anywhere between 3 to 4 a week.
Wow.
Right? Mm-hmm. That's huge when you think about it. You understand what I'm saying? So we're bringing people. So we're bringing on, not saying he has to shoot them all.
Yeah.
But he's getting the leads. And so some people don't get any leads at all. Right? And that type of thing. And so the Wedding Safari will bring those types of workshops, those types of classes. When I'm first getting started, how do I position myself? From websites to, business cards, the simple stuff, to how do I get into the luxury market? We're going to start from the beginning all the way to how do you get into the luxury market? How do I attract celebrities, right? How do I get published? All those types of things. That's what the Wedding Safari will be all about, man. And again, we're hosting that conference right here in Baltimore, October 6th through the 8th.
Okay.
And man, it's going to be fire, bro.
Man, I have to attend because when I was shooting, I was just on the whim and I just loved it and I loved doing it and I got into the business side, didn't really know what to do with that, but I kept doing it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think that if I would have had the Wedding Safari back then, I probably would have still been shooting without it. You know what I mean? I still would have been in the same space. So at that point, I didn't have it. I was that tree in the middle of the safari. Like, okay, what do I do now? You know, and so
referrals are cool. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing more powerful than a referral, right? But referrals can be a double-edged sword. You feel me? So you can have a referral, but it may not be the type of referral you want. Not all referrals, like all money ain't good money. All referrals ain't good referrals.
Exactly.
You feel me? So the long and short of it is, you know, you're going to learn at different levels. You know, I teach that, you know, there's consumer brides, there are boutique brides, and then there's luxury brides.
Okay.
What are you naturally attracting right now? What are you attracting to your business right now? And where, you know, what would you like to attract? And I have a friend right now who shoots close to 100 weddings a year.
Okay.
His company shoots close to 100 weddings. That is his business model. George Street wedding photographers, that is their business model. They're looking for the consumer bride. Okay. If you're in the boutique market, okay, that bride is a little bit more educated. She's not saying that the consumer bride is not educated, but their motivations are different. Yes. And so as a vendor, if your goal is to be able to attract those types of brides, you know, it doesn't come naturally. The mindset for each of them is radically different, and you have to get around. Where you'll be at the next 2 to 5 years will be based upon the people that you associate with in the books that you read.
Yes.
So when you start associating and coaching around people that are already doing it, the path just becomes clear and clear, and you start realizing that you're not the only tree that's out there. There's a bunch of them that's out there. You just don't see them. Yeah. Because your vision's not there, right?
Indeed, yes.
Yeah, man.
I agree. Wow. Okay. It's a wedding safari. What's your company name now? The when you're going toward $1 million?
So that's called VC Productions. So
VC Productions.
So me as a brand, it's not even the company. It's just me as a brand.
Okay.
I want to, and with anything and everything that we're doing, you know, in the wedding space or in storytelling.
Okay.
We want to make $1 million.
Okay.
That's the goal.
That's with the Milton Lawrence brand and the VC,
everything.
Everything.
It's not just VC Productions.
Okay.
It's just anything that I'm dealing with. The goal is to make $1 million.
Okay.
Right. And we're on that journey.
Yes, indeed. That's a 4 hour sleep nights. That's it.
Yeah, man. Sometimes no sleep.
No sleep.
Sometimes no sleep, man. You know what I mean? And then you get up and you do it all over again. Yeah. And it's all good. And so as we start to scale and you put business processes in place, I remove myself from the process and start to automate. You follow? So, but you have to put the work in the trenches. You have to get in there and do the things yourself. And then as you document yourself and you document the process that you're doing, then now you can start to replace yourself with other people because the processes are starting to work on their own. You can start to automate. So that's what the trenches are. Those were those long hours, long nights, and that type of thing. Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro.
I love watching it. It's an example. It's an example, and it's something that I'm just wide-eyed.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I see it.
Yeah, man.
For me, for personal life takes up the majority of my time. So I still, whatever that little bit is left, I throw it into the creative side of things. And I tell people, like, you know, you don't need any extra. If you want something, you have to go for it, no matter what. If you have to sleep less, you have to, whatever you got to do, don't go out Saturday night.
Right.
You know what I mean? Why are you going out every Saturday? Nobody's going to miss you out there. You know what I mean? You gotta duck down and get in the trenches.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. Nothing's going to be given to you.
No,
right. And with technology being the way that it is right now, I don't care where you are. I don't care where you come from. I don't care what your upbringing was. There's nothing that you can't achieve. Like real talk, right? Contextually, I'm from the inner city of Baltimore, right?
Yes.
Statistically, I'm supposed to be dead or in jail. You feel me?
I'm from Best Side, Brooklyn. Same thing for me.
You done know, right?
Yeah.
So, if you can go from, you know, we've already hit the multiple 6-figure mark, right? We haven't gotten to $1 million, but we've done well over multiple 6 figures, right?
Awesome.
So we're on our way, right?
Okay.
And we're gonna hit it. We're gonna do it. I'll come back on the show once we do it.
Yes,
it'll be a totally different. It'll be a totally different mindset, man. From then, because I would have learned a lot, right?
Absolutely.
So here's the thing on this journey, here's what I've learned. I've learned that, you know, you can do multiple millions with one. But if you diversify within that, within your vertical, so as an example, I'm shooting weddings. That's going to generate a certain amount of money, right? We're creating this platform, Wedding Safari. That's going to create a certain amount of income.
Yes.
VC Productions does strictly video and motion graphics. That's creating a certain. So when you add them all up, you now have. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, that's how we're doing it. It's not just, you know, Milton, you're going to shoot weddings until you make $1 million.
How's your calendar look?
Right. So I would say that the calendar is amazing. The calendar is amazing. It's busy, but it's not. It's tough, man. So it's busy, but it's not like.
It's not.
I'm trying to think of the best word for it, man. It's busy, but it's not like so convoluted. I don't have time for my family.
Okay, got it.
You follow me?
So your work-life balance is.
So I don't believe in work-life balance.
Okay.
I don't. So I believe that my work is my life, my life is my work. And so if I'm traveling to X, Y place, then we just extend the trip and bring the family.
Okay,
You
gotcha.
dig? Right? So, and, if wifey wants to come and maybe shoot some behind the scenes, and give her the camera, shoot. Put it on auto and just shoot.
Yes.
And now she's with me. You dig?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That type of thing. I don't believe
Indeed.
in, this work-life balance. Tell me somebody who has work-life balance. And I'll tell you somebody that's broke.
Right.
No, seriously.
I don't. I mean, personally,
try it. How's it working out for you? I'm gonna balance this thing out.
well, for the people who are really working, not just doing the regular 9 to 5 and that's it.
Right.
Yeah. For those people, they have a work life. I don't have me. I take
They don't even have a work-life balance.
No.
If you tell the truth, tell the truth. Where's the work-life balance? Where is it? I'm talking about. See, here's the thing. I don't relate to that.
Okay.
No disrespect to them, but I relate to go-getters. People that's getting after it. Now, it doesn't mean that you're less of a person if you're not chasing a goal or a dream. I just like hanging around winners, man. I like hanging around people that's going after something.
Yes.
But if you're trying to figure out how to, I'm only gonna take 2 weddings this month because I want to make sure I spend time with my family. There's nothing more powerful than a man chasing after his dream and his son and his daughter watching him. Right? You're teaching them by example rather than, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I miss a couple of my daughter's games. I miss a couple of the what's names. Not all, you feel me?
Mm-hmm.
But there's nothing more powerful when she walks into, I'm a celebrity when I go into my daughter's school.
Wow.
Because, my daddy did X. So when I walk in, do you still work for the president? That's what they correlate. So when I was in the Marine Corps, I was actually stationed at what's called Marine One, HMX-1, which is the Marine Presidential, those green helicopters that you see flying the president around.
Yes.
There's a specific unit within the Marine Corps which manage that. So when I go in, I tell the story about how, I was there during the Clinton campaign, the Clinton time, and on his way out, Bush 2 came in.
Okay.
So I tell them about that. So, when I walk in, they see Mr. Milton as a celebrity. There's nothing more powerful than my daughter being able to tell those stories, right? Last night we invested into the Black Boot Camp for kids. Dr. Boyce Watkins, I think his name is, to teach her about money and investments and, how to buy her first piece of stock and, those types of things, right?
Yes.
So no, work-life, what balance? For me, it's Milton. I'm not putting it on anybody else. It doesn't exist, bruh. You know what I mean? What happens is we have a priority, and as a family, and we're all chasing it at the same time. We want a new house. We got to get debt free.
Right.
So in this process of me chasing this $1 million, there's a bunch of default things that are happening to you. We want to be debt free. We want to make sure everything's paid off. We don't want to have a bunch of things that are out there because we want to be a living example, right? So teach his own. If you want to, corporate America tries to teach you to get work-life balance. That's just for people that ain't chasing nothing.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's maybe the people at the very top who are like, oh, well, we can chill here, and you guys,
They don't either, man.
They don't either.
No, man. So here's the thing. So the doors that have been opened up to us from a video production side, we work with a lot of corporate CEOs, and some are doing well, and some of them are miserable. So if you tell the truth, man, and it's not, you think because they're on the top of the hill that they're happy. That's not always the case.
No, right.
You get a perspective when you get up there and you start working with them and you start asking them questions and things like that. You'll be surprised, man, that, some of them, like I said, are very happy and content and fulfilled. Some of them are just miserable. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to feel that way when we get up there.
No, we don't. No, you don't. And so I think it's to feel. I think for me, it's about doing what makes you happy as you're going through the process, right? And never selling out to maybe money or opportunities that don't line up with your goals, dreams, and your morals. You know what I mean? That type of thing. And so Teach his own, man.
Yeah, indeed. I was asking about the calendar because I remember when I was on my own and I didn't have like a 9 to 5 or whatever the case may be, and I was just cutting hair from house to house and shooting in between, and like how my calendar was filling up, and it was just such a good feeling to look in there and look at all those little dots, knowing, okay, look, there's something going on every single day of this month.
Yeah, man. So that's exciting from a standpoint of now. So right now we're looking at 12 to 18 months out. We're not even looking month to month. You know what I mean? Because
you are in
yeah, we're looking. So in my world, I used to build my life month to month. Now we're building it year by year. We're looking at what does that entire calendar year, and then breaking it into quarters.
Yes,
Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, those types of things, and how to scale. How are we scaling in Q3 and Q4, and those types of things. Weddings play a certain role. Right? The wedding safari will play a certain role in that type of thing. And so the goal is to take the family along the way, man, and just rock and roll from there. So I'm excited about the year, not just the month. Yeah. That's the difference for me right now.
Yes,
that's my perspective, yeah.
I actually just started preaching the breaking down your life into quarters is only every 3 months. So like what I've been trying to motivate other people to do is, look, when a new quarter starts, just start brand new. You got 3 months to make some sort of change or make some sort of progress in your life, whatever it may be, for the individual, and just break it down. So this year, I actually started that from the beginning of the year, quarter one, and I met every goal so far in each quarter. So that's just looking at quarters. I know from a business standpoint, it's like, it's different. You have to look at the quarters and the gains and everything else. So, but from a personal, I was just like, wait, I got to make changes in my life, and I'm gonna do them by the quarters. And I don't know how that idea came to me, but it did, and it's been working wonderfully. So,
yeah, man. So I'm glad you said that. You mentioned, breaking things into quarters and setting your goals. Here's what I would say to you. If you've hit your goal every time, you ain't dreaming big enough. I love you for that, man. I'm gonna challenge you a little bit, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That means you ain't setting the goals big enough.
I appreciate that.
Right?
Yeah.
So we got to set them a little bit. We got to dream a little bit big. Does it scare you? If it doesn't scare you and it's very attainable, yeah, you got to
dream bigger.
Yeah, you got to dream bigger. We have to run harder. No, that's okay. Let me back that up. Not run harder, but set the goal. I knew in order for me to hit 1 million, I couldn't do it by myself. Right? I'm gonna have a little bit of faith, bro. As I'm running hard, I have some things that, my talent's not gonna get me there. Okay. I'm gonna need some help, some spiritual help. I'm gonna need some people. I'm gonna need a team. I'm gonna need people to be able to help me to get this done. Yeah. And it scares the hell out of me, but I don't care. We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway. Blood, sweat, and tears. We're gonna get it done.
Indeed.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but as far as breaking your year up into various quarters, I have a marketing calendar as to when I want to launch various products or I want to launch for various things that we're doing. So it's very intentional. Nothing is that, hey, today we're going to do this tomorrow. No. 2015, I decided at the end of 2015 that I want to have my work published. Now, I didn't start working on that until like June. So from June to now is when we got all those things published. We were busy. It was overflow from the year before. Right? So right now we're planning out 17, and we're planning out the early parts of 18 right now, launching products, launching conferences, launching things that we're going to be doing. And so that allows you to start planning 4 and 5 years out. Absolutely.
Yeah,
man.
I like that. I gotta run with that. That's really dope right there. Yeah. So, okay. So there's no, because in an entrepreneurial life, it's going to be different from day to day.
Sure.
And whatever you might have had planned that day might not go as planned at all. And that's a thing of every day, right?
Right.
Gary talks about that shit all the time. I listen to Gary so much because he's like, if you listen to Gary Vaynerchuk before,
yeah, he's a beast.
This guy's bananas, you know, and so
you see his calendar, right? And so what he chooses to show.
Yeah,
right.
Show.
He's on a plane somewhere. He's always speaking. He's always he's running a big company. He's interviewing people. The dude's all over the place in a great way, but he's still in the same vertical.
Yeah,
he's still in the same vertical. Going back to the original point, right? He's still in the same vertical, right? Indeed. And so, I feel like at the end of the day, man, you know what I mean? When you map out, it's what works for you. Some people are more on the micro side. Some people on the macro side. Some people they like to see the day to day. For me, things go wrong. I also take care of my mother. I told you that in the beginning, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, every day is something different with her. Right. Every day is something different with her, right? From taking her to her appointments. And these are things that derail you from your day, right? What you thought you had planned. So here's how I stay focused. I have a top 5. I have a top 5. And
Top five.
these top 5 has to be done before noon every day.
Okay.
Right? Now, I may have 30 things on the list, but those top 5 have to be done before 12 p.m. Before 12 p.m. So I'm typically, when I'll go to bed maybe 3 or 4 o'clock. I get back up around 6:30, 7 o'clock, right? And from 6 to noon, those top 5. Most things only take about 10 to 15 minutes if you really think about it.
Right.
Most things.
Really crunch down on them.
Okay, if you turn the phone off, turn Facebook off, turn all your notifications off, and you get down to it, you'll be surprised. Bruh, if you turn the phone off and turn Facebook off, you'll be surprised how much time you have on your hands.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why things take so much time is because you're distracted, right? So you're starting on this email that you're supposed to send out, right? You know what I mean? You need to get this email for the proposal, or you need to get this out for whatever the case may be. And then all of a sudden you see somebody like one of your pictures.
Right.
You pick up the doggone phone and you start scrolling.
Next thing you know, you go through the vortex of Instagram, and then boom.
You're done now, right? It's just like, man, I didn't get anything done, right? But when you say, okay, here's my top 5, we're turning the phones off, we're turning everything off. Listen, that phone call ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
You ain't that damn busy.
Or that text message.
No, it's not. No, it's a distraction. So when you say, here's my top 5, this is the top 5 I plan to get done, whether I like it or not.
Indeed.
And that's by noon, you set your time. But for me, by 12 o'clock, my top 5 have to be done. And typically it's nothing more than an email, a text message, a follow-up, you know what I mean, a proposal that needs to go out, maybe an invoice or whatever the case may be. Those things have to be done. Some things take a little bit longer. They're contingent upon somebody else making a decision, right? But my part of that has to be done by 12 o'clock. And
how do you divide those top 5? Like, I know most important. Those top 5 have to be the most important, but like out of everything, because almost everything is important. How do you decide which ones do you put in that top 5?
I'm glad you asked that question. So as you break down your year, quarterly, weekly, monthly, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
What are my goals? So does it map back to moving my day forward? Getting me closer to my goal. So if the goal, if it's the top 3, if it maps to those 3 goals when I'm trying to move forward, then that dictates the level of importance and level of priority.
It filters it out. Okay.
Right. So you have to have something that you're running towards. It can't just be some whimsical, I think I'm going to fix the car today. If the car needs to be fixed, fix it. Right. But here's the thing. For Milton, my top is we got to get Wedding Safari off the ground. Right? So I need to be reaching out to speakers. I need to be reaching out. There's back-end platform work that needs to be done. Those, if it's going to cost me money, if I procrastinate and don't get it done, it's going to cost me money. That's a high priority.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's setting the goals. And once you set the goals, it's my day-to-day top 5. Does it map to this? And when new opportunities come, is it a distraction, and does it help me get closer to that, to the goal?
Right.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's just staying focused. It's removing distractions. It's removing anything that's not going to help you to get you closer to your goal. Okay. Yeah. And that's how I do my top 5.
Do you use what is your favorite productivity app on your phone?
I'm glad you asked that question, bro. You know what it is? It's actually a piece of mail.
A piece of mail?
A piece of mail. You know what I do? I walk downstairs, I grab my piece of mail, and I cut it in half, and I write my top 5 on that piece of mail, on the back of it.
Wow.
That's my system.
That's your system.
And when I cross them off, those top 5, now I may have 30 things to do in my, you know what I do? I text myself.
Okay. Okay, you text yourself.
From a digital standpoint, I text myself. Here are the top 30, right? These are all the things you got to do, right? Some things roll over from the previous day, from the previous week, things like that. But what are the top, how do I differentiate those as a focus point? Is I literally take the back of a piece of mail, right? And I write down the top 5. And these are the things that got to get done before 12 o'clock. I know them. My wife knows them. So everybody holds me accountable. My team knows that. Okay. Right. And so, and then as a means of accountability, once an hour, my team will send me a message on WhatsApp saying, hey, did you get X done? So I got to get done, man. Yeah, man. But not hold my own self. But then it becomes a habit where you don't even need to have that happen. Right. So that's that. So my top 5, you want to talk about productivity or taking your productivity to a whole nother level? Yeah, man.
This is top 5.
Top 5, man. Okay. Top 5. Don't answer no emails until after 12 o'clock.
Okay.
Unless it's dealing with
one of those top 5.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
And automate when you can. So I know I want to put an image or a video out at least once a day. You know what I mean? Either on Facebook, Instagram, just so I can stay top of mind in people's mind. It doesn't matter whether you like it or not. I just want to put an image out so that people. Here's the thing: people are distracted, right? And I want people to associate Milton Lawrence with storytelling and photography, right?
Yes.
Don't even care whether you associate me with video at this point. I just want you to associate with me with photography. For every day, we automate, make sure that we have an image that comes up. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so that is something that we want to make sure that goes out. Now, you can use Hootsuite, you can use various tools that you can do that. But what I found for me, if that's a part of my top 5 for me to physically get that image out, because I have virtual assistants who do some of this stuff for me too.
Yes.
Is that's a part of the top 5. So you only jump on social media just to get that image out. Don't check no messages, don't check no notifications, don't check nothing. Get that out, get off. Close it down. Close it all the way down so you're not receiving any notifications.
Okay.
And that's, again, whatever your top 5 is, man, that's the deal, bro.
Okay. Yeah, I like the top 5. I don't think I've ever heard anybody break it down like that before. So, okay. Definitely, because I aspire to be that busy anybody that knows me will be like, oh, Willis, I don't have time for a lot of the silly things going on sometimes. It's 80-hour week. Right. Sometimes more. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So for me, it's crazy. So I definitely got to do that to stay more productive and stay on point.
Yeah, man. Tim Ferriss actually said it, man. If you read the 4-Hour Workweek, he talks about how to become more productive. Okay. You know what I mean? And so
I listened to the audio of that one, but it was a while ago. I got to get back.
Yeah, go back to that.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, Ferriss talked about it, and I stole that from back then, and we just have been doing it ever since.
Okay. Yeah. What is aside from family? What is like some of the biggest push, I guess, or motivation? I know. We already spoke about purpose and the reason why, and that's enough, right, for some people. But then, not every day is a good day. Absolutely. So, what is one of the biggest? I think was that fire that gets lit for you on a daily basis? Not family, not including the money or the goals, or like there's something else that we all have inside of us that makes us get up and go for it. Yeah, man. So I'm glad you asked that question. At this point, at this junction, is seeing others succeed, right? That may not sound real sexy or whatever the case may be, but here's the thing. Being at the top of the mountain by yourself doesn't do you any good, right? You can be up there and, that type of thing, but I want to create community and that type of thing. So one of the things that really, really get, when you're down and you're trying to get those creative juices going and trying to really, I feel like if you give yourself away, that's what works for me. So if I'm down, how can I help Willis succeed? Because by doing that, I think that I know my juice button, that thing that gives me that energy is, let me find somebody to go help. That's the thing for me. That's what gets it going for me. What is Willis missing? Let me hit him up. What up with you, boy? You know what I mean? You good? Yeah. What you? I'm gonna reach out. And that is, man, there's something to be said, and something that makes you feel so fulfilled as an individual when you can help. And just give one little tip, man. And when you see that person succeed, I gotta get it. I gotta get it. Another thing that helps me too, man, is watching some of my they're not even competitors, they're my friends that are out there getting it. Right? So it's friendly competition, if you will, right? But watching these guys, just like, man, yo, that was a dope shot. Yeah, so I gotta go practice that. Because I gotta get on it, right? Yeah. And that type of thing. And I'm not even competing with him. It's just like, yeah, that's it. Friendly competition is it's good. As men, we have to have that. Yes, right? Absolutely. Women are a little bit different, for us. Yeah, a little bit of competition. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I get after you, bro. Yeah, man. Okay. I'm still got a little bit of competition up in me. No doubt. Man. I mean, so that's the thing for me. You gotta have it, especially in this world. Why not? So okay. We usually end off just about every podcast. We're about to hit that 1 hour mark already. So wow, okay. I love it. I love the feeling on everybody's face every time I tell them that, because it's like, what, hour disappeared that fast? We're just jamming, man. I know. I like to leave off with letting you drop. Right, we already dropped a lot of gems, but for that person who's gonna listen to this and maybe has nothing going on or wants to start something, whether it be in photography or anything else. I have somebody who wants to start a cooking channel on YouTube, invested in a camera, a decent point and shoot that's going to make that happen for him, or anybody else who actually wants to get anything going. Even for me, just drop that gem that's going to get them going. Okay. I know you're good at that, so you're going to be able to do it with no problem. Yeah, man. So, what I mean? If you're trying to start something, I don't care what it is, whether it's a nonprofit, if you're trying to start a TV show, I don't care what it is you're trying to do. I say start with your why. Why are you doing it? Right? Figure out why, and not only just, once you have your why, you define what that why is, put it on the wall,
right? I need you to put it all over your house. I mean, fanatical. Become fanatical about that why, and to the point where as though it's in your bathroom, it's on your refrigerator, it's everywhere, right? Some people call them vision boards, right?
Yes.
But figure out why you're doing it, right? So you know what your goal is, but you also know the reason why you're doing it. So secretly, I have a wall in my house where I have nothing but images of people that were killed like in the last year. Some friends, some people, that we know about publicly.
Yes.
And when I see that you can't give up. You see, because when you get started in this thing that you're doing, you're going to have some hard times. You're going to have some bumps in the road. You're going to have some things that's going to distract you. And you're going to need that thing that's going to put that fire back in your belly. That's going to keep you going. So in my house, I have a wall that literally, if it's a newspaper article or it's something, I print it off and I put it on the wall. I said, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Somebody's life is going to be better off because I'm becoming a better storyteller. Right? Somebody's life's going to be better off. I'll give you more context. So one of the things that I do is that we interview cancer survivors, right? And we do makeovers on these cancer survivors. So I have a picture of all of them on my wall, right? These are the people that motivate the crap out of me. Their spirit motivates me, you know what I mean? When you don't want to get up. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
On my ceiling, I have pictures, right? So when I wake up, it's the first thing that I see. So I'm managing my mindset. I'm managing the visuals that are coming in my mind. My daughter came to me. She said, "Daddy, why do you have it up there?" I said, "Because I want to manage what's going on in my mind, right? What I see and why I'm getting up every day." It's a picture of her up there too, of all of my girls. Do you understand?
Yeah.
That's why I get up. That's why I'm moving forward. But no matter where you are in your journey, if you're just getting started, you may not be getting the results that you're looking for. Just know this: when a baby, there's a reason why that a child doesn't start kindergarten until they're 5 years old. There's a reason why.
Okay.
And essentially what that is a 5-year-old is just like is synonymous with your business. When you first get started, you may be getting some results, you may not be getting the results you're looking for. By years 1, 2, and 3, that's the hardest time. You're putting in the work, you're putting in the work. By years 4 and 5, what ends up happening is that baby can now start to walk. It has to have their own little personality.
Yeah.
They'll start to go out
Character.
start to explore. This makes more sense to you because your son's going through that process now.
Yeah.
Now, right?
He's 3, right?
So your business is the exact same way. You got to put in and pour in over that first 4 to 5 years. And then what ends up happening is the transition happens and then it starts to go off on its own. And so if you're in that year 1, year 2, year 3, when nothing is happening, keep going. Because what's going to end up happening is again, I talked about this earlier, but the effort will start to back off and the business will start to take on a personality of its own. And there's nothing that you can do about it. Just watch the blessings come in, bro. That's it. You done know. Yeah.
I appreciate it. That's much love, brother. Hey, I really appreciate you coming through. I can't wait to actually put this up. It might be up before the weekend is over. Just get everything out the way.
Right.
Thank you for the gems.
Absolutely.
Thank you for your time.
Absolutely, family.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. And if people want to follow me, man, they can follow me. Milton Lawrence Photography. Snapchat, Milton Lawrence. And everything else is just Milton Lawrence Photography. You'll follow me there. See, there's a reason why I want to say this is important.
Yeah.
So, although I'm in multiple verticals, inside the same storytelling.
Yes.
I put myself as a photographer, but I do other things. You know that.
Yes.
If you follow me, you'll know I do other things. But it's easier for people to categorize you in one area than it is for you to be all over the place. You can't be synonymous for what the thing that is you do.
Right.
If you do taxes, you sell real estate, you can do all those things. You just can't position yourself online that way.
Right.
That makes sense to you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you have to be synonymous with the thing that it is that you do so people can refer you. If not, then when they're looking for a photographer, you're not the person that comes top of mind.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So when you go to look for me, Milton Lawrence Photography. That's it. We're going to keep it real simple.
I'm going to have all the links in the show notes too. So as soon as they click on it, it's going to have everything there.
Boom.
We'll be able to find you instantly. But Milton Lawrence on everything.
Milton Lawrence. You can just Google Milton Lawrence. And things will just come up, bro.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
My man.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, bro. Be somebody to somebody or be nobody to yourself. Peace. That was episode number 11 of the Offset Podcast, Unsatisfied and Restless with Milton Lawrence. Thank you for tuning in, guys. I hope you really enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please remember, if you're listening to it on an iPhone, we are available on the podcast app in the iPhone. I believe it's also available on several other podcast apps just because they all grab the RSS feed. We're also available on YouTube. Some of the episodes are available on SoundCloud. We're also available on Android, on Google Play. from iPhone, you can access Google Play. I just learned that, so it's kind of funny. You can access Google Play, but you can access the podcast portion of Google Play. So if you have an Android phone, if you want to clarify me on that, but I know that for sure on an Android phone, you can actually access the podcasts that are available on Google Play. It's kind of crazy the way that it all works, but it is an emerging platform, and it's one that's actually taking flight, and we're doing it. So I really appreciate Milton Lawrence actually taking time out to come and sit down with us and share some of his time and some of his knowledge and drop some gems on us. I am hopefully going to be helping him set up his own podcast, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be nuts. Shout out to our sponsor, Perch a Hat. Remember to enter Unsatisfied in all caps at checkout on perchahat.com for 10% off all of the hats that are available. Some of the dopest designs out there. Shout out to Wise. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you can do me a huge favor, if you're listening to this on an iPhone or from your Mac, any Apple product, just go in and click subscribe. Also, share it on your social media networks. That would be dope. And if you can, leave a review, just a few words, just if you like it, leave a few stars, some reviews. It'll definitely help us in kind of going up at least, a few points in the ranks, and, just sharing and spreading some love. If you actually listen all the way through, then shit, why not? I appreciate the shit out of you guys. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Peace.